Yes, people. Welcome back to today's episode of the Stockroom podcast.
Yep.
We are joined by a man of many hats. This is an interesting hat you're wearing, by the way.
Thank you.
But
It's
Angelo Baque,
Thank you.
founder and creative director of Awake, ex-brand director of Supreme.
Yep.
The man that has worked on and been involved in so much. I feel like,
In front and behind the scenes.
I feel like in the US you are like, I'll talk about it later on, but I feel like there's like streetwear Avengers, and I feel like you are one of them. So yeah, we will definitely get into it later. But
For sure, but yeah.
thank you, bro.
Angelo, welcome, man.
Welcome
Thank
to
you.
the pod.
You coming on the pod.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. I don't think anybody's ever clapped for me before.
Hey, man.
Thank you. I
Got to give people their flowers while they're
Yeah.
present, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
most
So,
That's for
definitely.
everything,
Yeah,
man.
man.
literally.
Appreciate it. Thank
How have
you.
you been? What have you been up to, and what brings you to London?
I got married to a Brit.
Oh, fair.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
and we had a
yeah,
child.
Yeah.
Yeah. His name is Say. He just turned 10 months 2 days ago.
Oh,
Congratulations,
okay.
man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, her family's
Recent.
from Kent, so we just took we had to come out here for a wedding,
okay.
and just took advantage since we were going to take the trip
Yeah.
to just kind of like plant roots for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And just be
Appreciate
close to
you
her
for it.
family, and you know, honestly, just family time. It wasn't. I literally left business for the last 2 days, and it's just been mad. I've been on the go for the last 48 hours.
Man.
So I think this is a nice way to kind of wrap up the trip. So
Yeah.
I
Appreciate you, man.
just thank you guys for asking me to be on this.
Yeah,
I
man,
appreciate
definitely,
it.
bro,
course.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's funny, like,
Yeah, go on.
how it came about. Literally, I saw, for context, guys, I literally saw Angelo this morning. I met Angelo probably for the first time, and it was a conversation that was meaning to happen, I feel like, but the avenue hadn't opened up, and then we spoke again like half an hour later, and then Angelo was like, "Yo, I leave tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, it might be a bit tight to do a pod." He was like, "Hey, like, what you guys doing this evening?" 'Cause
Michael had to shoot a shot.
if you're free, I'm free. I was like, all right, let me get back to you. So I called the guys, and then the guys were like, oh, okay, all right, cool, let's see what you can do. After a few hours, now we're here.
we are.
It's a crazy 12 hours, but
man.
we are here.
Yeah. Like I said, thank you. I know it's not easy to organize last minute, so I don't take it for granted.
No, honestly, bro, I appreciate it.
And also for context, we have a shop at Selfridges.
Yes,
yes.
And that's what we were met at Selfridges. So, yeah, man, just like I said, just literally waited for the last 2 days to get busy.
Yeah.
You know, like there's I always say that there's like, you know, a divine architect at play, like, and there's no
Definitely.
such thing as coincidence.
Definitely,
You know what I
definitely.
mean? So like, there's a reason why we cross paths this way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
It's so funny, like, literally, I was at Judah's High Hopes
Big
on
up
Sunday.
Judah.
Shout out Judah. That's
big
OG Unk. And we I was about leaving to go home, and he was like, "Oh, by the way, Angelo's around. Like, message me, and I'll try and link you with him." And so when I called him this morning about something separate, I also messaged and said, "Oh, like, is there a chance I can catch like 5 minutes with him?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure what his schedule's like." And then you were at the store, and I was obviously doing what I was doing. I was like, "Oh, that is
Fancy seeing you
you
here.
know what I'm saying? Like, now I got to speak to him." So yeah, man. I guess like we're trying to try something new.
All right.
So work with us here. If you could describe your week with a song, what song would it be?
Oh man. Oh shit. It would have to be like a song with many breaks.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's definitely not like a punk.
Fair.
2 minute 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Or even say like something off the Cardi album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which the only reason I bring it up because I think it's very punk.
Yeah. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. You know, listen, man, for me, and not that we're going to get, not to go off on, I love tangents, by the way. I love
Fair.
tangents. But I think in order to be where I'm at in life, the only way I've been able to survive is to keep an open mind. I
Real,
think the minute and I'm speaking specifically to my generation, right? Where it's easy to be labeled as old head, right? Unk. Like, yeah, old head. Which is starting, by the way, becoming some fucking derogatory term. You know what I mean? Like,
no, unk is a term of endearment.
No, I know unk is term, but old head, that shit, like,
that rubs the wrong way.
Old head, I hear that
I'll tell
one.
you this too, like, y'all motherfuckers think you slick by calling us OGs. I think that OG shit sometimes can be a little condescending. Like, what's up, OG? And it's like,
it's like.
My man, you don't
But
even
you know
know
what
me
it is,
like
man?
that. You don't even know me like that. You call me
like,
OG, you know, like
being Nigerian, like, and Ghanaian, like African backgrounds, we can't call like people that are a certain amount of years older than us, like
by name.
brother or by name.
Yeah.
So it's actually like when we say it, it's like yo, I have nothing else to call you.
Yeah.
Like, even sometimes when I speak to Jude, I'm like, yo, Jude, I'm like, yeah, but like if Jude was in my family, I'll call Jude the uncle.
right.
So yeah.
See, but even that is different when you call me uncle. So coming from a Latin background, to this day, I've yet to call my uncle by his first name. He's Theo X, right?
Yeah,
so like
yeah,
Theo
yeah.
Georgie, Theo Pepe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think to this day, my uncles would probably slap the shit out of me if I was like,
Literally.
yo, George.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, what
Who the heck you talking to?
Who the fuck are you talking to? You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
there's always that level. So not saying that you need to call me Uncle Angelo when you meet me in the street, because I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that'd
yeah.
be fucking weird too. Yeah. So like, no, but I anyway, what we were talking about before?
What song?
About keeping an open mind. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, I don't mind listening. Like, I have to listen to it once to whether determine if I like it or not. Real simple. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, then I don't know.
I don't have an opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, a huge turning point in career is to kind of like, not saying that I'm stupid, but like when I say I don't know, it's just like it allows me to keep an open mind.
Makes
That's
sense.
Keep learning.
Make
for
sure.
I
sure.
don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I you know, like I think had I had a closed mind, I'll tell you, most of my friends probably like haven't been listening to what's the young boy that rolls with Kendrick?
His cousin.
Fuck, they did Family Ties,
Bro,
right?
Yeah, what's it? Baby Key?
Yes, Baby Keem.
right? Like
Yeah.
at this point, Baby Keem is old, right?
Yeah.
Like, his music is old. But I have friends that have never heard of Baby Keem.
Smile.
Okay.
But I think, you know, for like, I want, like, when Baby Keem first came out, to me, it was energy. You know what I'm saying?
cold,
Like,
yeah.
that's the shit. I was like, all right, I'm gonna work on some new projects. Let me throw this shit on right
And
now.
you're looking
like, I could be doing push-ups, or I could be working on a, you know, a Jordan project. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, point is, like, when you ask me about like Playboy Cardi, like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
You know, like,
I enjoyed it, to be fair. I listened to the
Yeah.
updated album as well, because he added like 4 more songs, and basically because he leaked all the songs before, Different Day was one where I was like, yo, that should have been on the main album. Then he put it on the album. I was like, yo, I gotta listen to it again with the context of the new additional songs.
You felt heard.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like, yeah. What about you? What song would you describe your past week as?
Most probably Venom's new track, Profit.
Okay.
Purely because my week has been silent. Like you know, like when you're just locked in, so you're not hearing any words, you're just trying to focus. So it's just pure jazz right now.
Fair.
That's me.
Yeah, Venice Jazz Us from North London, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
E-Man, what about you?
I have no clue. I mean, my
Bashment
week.
track.
Huh? Yeah, of course.
Fair.
I don't know. That's a great question. I feel like because the sun has come out, it's even funny. I don't know if you've seen sun in this country.
Never.
Yeah, it's like
Never.
This is the most phenomenal it's been in months.
yeah,
No,
literally.
Well, I've been coming here for like damn near 20 years.
Yeah.
And maybe I've gotten like 2 sunny days in those.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about this week, I thought you were talking about like my life. What song? Which I thought was.
Oh, yeah,
kinda
no, this week,
difficult.
this week. Yeah.
This week it would be Gil Scott-Heron, "Save the Children."
Okay.
Yeah, cause because like for me that's kind of like morning ritual. And where I'm staying in Maida Hill, and we got this really nice, like, very humble house to stay in. And it's like back home, I don't have a stoop or like a little deck, so like just to be able to go outside with a cup of coffee and get
And just
fresh
sit.
air and listen to tunes. And for me, like usually like my morning rituals, I listen to jazz.
Right.
Makes sense.
10 times out of 10 I'm listening to jazz first thing in the morning, or
yeah.
classical music to just kind of like turn down. You know what I'm saying? Before
you turn up.
Yeah, before I turn
Yeah.
up. So yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
You?
For me, I think when I went to High Hopes on Sunday, Yusuf Days played a song by Aphex Twin called Alberto Basam, and I don't know why it just like sat with me. And like, there's a few tunes where I've been listening to where it's like, if I'm working, that will be the tune that plays for like the duration of the period that I'm working in that space. So before, it was a song by this guy called James Blunt called 1973.
Okay.
I heard it while I was in the coffee shop working, and I was like, yo, like this is a song, and like I'll just play it on loop. And yeah, so currently it's Aphex Twin, Alberto Basam. So yeah,
Fair enough.
but I guess like it's time to get into the really important stuff.
Go on.
Nooks and
Yeah.
crannies of the
Because
podcast.
hey, it's not every day you catch Angelo in London.
No.
It's not every day you catch Angelo. Period.
Yeah, literally.
No.
And even though you have context in terms of like you have interviews out there, like this, I feel like it's still different to what you've probably like experienced before in interviews. And by the end, you'll kind of see why.
Okay.
So yeah, like obviously for you, you've kind of like your journey's been really interesting, ran to prominence, and you had your roots within retail. So in the stockroom, we've all kind of come through the journey of like retail, and the conversations of the stockroom are what kind of brought about this space now.
I
That
hope the name is self-explanatory.
Okay.
literally.
Okay.
So, what's like an iconic stockroom experience for you?
Or just like a retail experience.
Yeah.
No, the stock. No, let's get specific. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
down because
Stockroom.
I did work stock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So I worked at Urban Outfitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I worked at Urban Outfitters, and it's probably where I got like my like alterna Latino education, right? So
Okay.
I worked with this dude Angel, who was heavy into industrial music. So there was like a band they used to play all the time called Meat Beat Manifesto.
Yeah.
And there was a Mexican rock band called Café Tacuba that this dude would listen to
Okay.
all day. But then he was also wild Dominican at the same
Okay.
time. So he was from the Bronx, like proper like hood Bronx, but he wore like Doc Martens and tight jeans.
Yeah.
Okay,
and,
okay.
had, like, you know, like the big silver chain, you know, so it was like the first time like I had an experience. I don't, you know, I wouldn't want to, what's the word? Because I think the easy thing is like, oh, he dressed white. Or he listened to, because, you know, at the same time, I was into my things that, I was into music and art at an early age.
Yeah.
And I know I was easily dismissed by my own people because they didn't know how to label me, right?
Yeah.
Facts.
And I'm, you know, in the U.S., right? Like you guys have secondary school, we have high school,
Yeah.
right? So like I grew up in a predominantly West Indian neighborhood.
Oh.
So like my classmates were either West Indian or black, right?
Right, okay.
African American, right?
Okay.
So you didn't really have to pick sides yet in
Fair.
elementary school, right? So then when secondary school came along, then you had to pick,
Right.
right?
Where
So
you
that
gonna
was the
hang.
first time that I was like, oh, I'm Latino. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
like
yeah.
the Latinos took me in. They're like,
Yeah.
no, you're gonna come sit with us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it became like very segregated
And cliquey,
right?
yeah.
Like there was no inclusivity. It
Yeah.
was like you're with this crew and that's that.
Yeah.
But like all my friends at the time were all alike, right? Either you had, you know, this was early '90s, so it was like Guess, Hilfiger, Polo,
Right.
You know, like no one was wearing like a Nirvana T-shirt, like that was
Yeah.
like with the other Latin kids. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
that's like the white boy stuff.
Yeah,
you
Okay.
know. So it was like I was 19 when I worked at Urban Outfitters. And so like Angel was the first time I met someone that I was like, oh, like you're weird, but you still, it's not like you're soft. You're still very masculine. And when I say Dominican, like the things like maybe the closest thing to like flamboyant men of color, I would say like are Nigerians, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like Nigerians are very splashy. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that.
Congolese.
I feel like
Congolese,
Congolese,
right?
right? So like
Yeah.
Dominicans are
My
kind of
brother
like
been
that
by,
too.
Right, I feel
You know what
you.
I'm saying?
I
Like
feel you.
Dominicans
Yeah,
are
yeah,
very
yeah.
splashy
And expressive.
and expressive, right? Like you might even say they're a little like not feminine, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's
Okay, I get what you mean.
There's a little like
Like a gray
showmanship,
area.
Yeah,
like a little
yeah.
bit of showmanship. Like think of Prince, right?
Mm.
Like
Okay,
Prince
yeah.
was like super fly. And I think once again easily dismissed as like, man, that dude's soft or he's too feminine.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then, like he'll run away with your girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So like
yeah.
Angel was my first experience of like, I think you might have high heels on right now,
Yeah.
but
But
like you're like
Like you could probably still beat me up.
yeah, you can still
Yeah.
beat me
And
up.
you're real.
There's nothing feminine about you.
If
like,
there's a
yeah,
fight,
yeah, yeah.
you're back in it. Like
back in it. So like that was, I would say, probably like my biggest like
Like a
just
culture shock.
Yeah, culture shock. And also, like, he would take me up to the Bronx, and like me being from Queens, like the Bronx at that time, like in 1997, was still, like I said, very the Bronx.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
for sure.
to this day, you know, I know here, like for example, like Hackney is wild gentrified, right? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah,
there's certain
for sure.
parts like in the West Side too that are getting really gentrified. Like
And there's some spots which are ungentrifiable.
Yeah.
like, and that's the Bronx.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
Bronx is ungentrified.
Where,
you know?
where would you say is ungentrifiable here? Okay, yeah, Croydon. Yeah.
Oh, do you know what? Fair.
You know what?
You know what? I would.
Old Kent Road is unjustifiable.
Old Kent
they're
Road.
Trying
Yeah.
hard. They took away the KFC.
And parts of Peckham. I think parts of Peckham they've got away with things that they shouldn't have got away with.
Yeah.
Parts of Brixton too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying, but I feel like the people are like when a place is just so rago and just so you can't pierce that layer.
However much you try,
Yeah.
the people will be the people, and they'll pass it down to generations, and they will
Yeah.
be the people. And
Yeah.
money can't move that.
As much as the cafes and the coffee shops you can put there, it's not breaking through.
Yeah, well, that's the Bronx.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Bronx,
Yeah.
they've tried. They've tried, and it hasn't worked in like over a decade now.
I guess like with those parallels, then like we're in the UK, and you've been to London like quite frequently on like the area, and you kind of understand like how the UK works. What are like things within fashion that seem different in like the comparison between London and New York? Like, do you feel like we approach fashion differently and the way we like dress differently, or do you feel like it's very similar due to like?
Ooh, also, who dresses better? Because I saw a TikTok about that. Who do you
I
think
saw it
dresses-
recently,
Yeah.
which I thought was rubbish.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of silly. I think when you, first of all, how the fuck are you supposed to answer that?
Yeah.
If you're in the city that you're asking about, of course you're gonna. What I'm gonna be like, no, people from London dress better. Than
Yeah.
people from
Then it's
New
like
York."
you're a sellout.
Yeah, like that's silly. I think that's a silly kind of question to ask. But I think that both cities have strong identities in fashion. I don't think you could say one is better than the other because you can have an argument to say either or is better, right?
For different
And still make a point.
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
like, you know what, you kind of right, Michael. Like London
Yeah.
is kind of cooler, you know. But I think we influence one another. I think the bigger difference is probably here. I think with a certain sect and demographic of like fashion kid, I think there's more freedom than there is back home.
Okay.
Fair enough.
What do you mean by that?
I think back home there's more of a I would say like almost like a la carte menu of what fashion means.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
So if I tick these boxes,
Then you're fashionable.
I'm fashionable.
Right.
Yeah, it makes
You know
sense.
what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
Like, whereas, like, I think here, because I feel like there's been more. I don't mean that because I don't want to get in trouble by saying this. I think there's a DIY spirit of London
Okay.
Yeah.
that has kind of been lost in New York, right? And I
Okay,
think, all right,
okay.
cool. Like now I'm starting to piece it together because London. We can argue to say London is unaffordable, but compared to New York, it's still very affordable, right? So I think the biggest issue here is wages and what people get paid. Right?
Yeah.
But like compared to New York, you can make a decent wage, but it's still unaffordable.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So then when you
I hear that. Yeah.
when you take that into account, then there's no room for creativity to actually incubate, right? So like when you think about like when the cities kind of like had parallel movements happening at the same time, like there were shitholes. Like New York was a shithole in the 70s,
Yeah.
right? Late 70s, early 80s. So you think about rock, punk, hip hop all happening at the same time, graffiti, you know, like when we think of like 1978 to 1982, right? And then punk was happening here at the same time, right? And then you also, for example, like then you have the influence from the islands in London, right? So like that movie Babylon.
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
then
yeah,
you got
yeah.
punk happening, and then you got the Rastas and dub and that happening, right? Like so
totally
Lovers
different,
Rock,
but yeah,
or, you know.
yeah,
So there's just
yeah.
like a lot of
Happening.
DIY happening, organic kind of movements, right? And for example, like here, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? Because I'm just regurgitating shit that I hear from other people.
Fair.
It's like
Okay.
you could be on the dole and still survive, like figure out how to survive.
Oh, in terms of being on benefits.
yeah, being on benefits here. Whereas like if you're young, it's not an option in New York. Like you can't be like, I'm just gonna quit my day job and just be on welfare. And
I think you know what, yeah, it's a bit of a technical one though, because the process of getting benefits is also like not the most straightforward, and also it's like
Also, the way that the
it's
system
a complex system.
Yeah,
It's a very,
the way the system is set up, like unfortunately, well, with governments it's changing. But if certain people know how to manipulate it, and that's what allows them to have what they have or live how they live. But it's very weird because I feel like you can get found out here in terms of that type of thing. But there are people, there are families that have been doing it for years.
But
like,
then,
yeah, go on.
but then at the same time, there are certain people who, as a like on a high level, you see what they're making from or what they're taking from benefits, but then you see their expenses. It's like you're not living well even the slightest kind of thing. It's like there was a woman she's basically getting like 40K from benefits, that's above average on a salary in the UK. But her she's taking on around like 2.4 a month. But for her 3 kids to go to nursery, that's 2K already. Per month gone.
Yeah.
So now she has to live and feed them on 400 a month.
that's crazy.
So it's like,
I'm not talking about single mothers, by the way.
yeah, of
I'm
course.
talking about like skaters.
Yeah,
that wanna do
no,
shit,
no,
smoke
You drifted
cigarettes.
into this topic.
Of course.
Don't worry.
Like I said, I want to get to like a heavy like.
No.
Angelo,
Yeah,
he said
yeah,
you can survive off the dole. I'm talking about. I'm being real specific. I'm talking about artists
of
and
course.
skaters.
Not
that,
everybody
like,
has the same
fuck
24
working-
hours.
Yeah, like fuck working a 40-hour week when I could just collect benefits. And just be at the pub. Chain smoking. I'm like, oh, cool. Like.
That's crazy.
That's not an option. So like, all right. So the point of me bringing up that time period in New York City is that it was still affordable. Like you could get like a shithole apartment for like $150 a month. Like you're not finding anything for $150 in New York. You're not even finding anything for $1,500 in New York City right now.
That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, if you're young, right? If I was 18 and I'm not a native New Yorker and I want to make it big, I want to paint or I want to make music, like I don't think realistically New York is an option for me.
Because the luxuries, like you don't get to experience having that luxury because you if you're not working your ass off, then
You can't afford.
you can't afford to stay.
Well, then what time do you have to create?
Exactly.
What time do you have time? For me, I think one of the biggest rude awakenings was when I went to art school, to university, and I love and he still is one of my favorite photographers, Richard Avedon, and I wanted to learn how to light like Richard Avedon, right? And I was just like studying really hard and asking my professors, and there was a photographer at the time named Terry Richardson that kind of hit really hard, right? Like his style. And basically his style is what kids are still doing today, which is like on camera flash, right? You just take a point and shoot camera, pick a white wall, and then one day I show up to the darkroom, and then everybody's prints look just like Terry Richardson, and I'm like,
this isn't what it's about.
damn, I was like, yo, these kids, like, what are they doing? What are they working on? And then I kind of like took a step back, and I just saw like it was like literally me and one other person were like the only 2 people of color in the whole program, like like all 4 years.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, oh, this like the system's rigged. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like these kids can afford to switch their style and then just copy one photographer because they literally have nothing to lose. Like so whatever's hot they're gonna mimic as opposed to like actually working on a craft and developing a style.
Wow, you've really said a lot. Thank you so much. You've given us a lot of insight.
Yeah, I got a question though from one of the things you mentioned earlier, with it being so difficult essentially for like, or it sounds like it's very difficult for like young creatives in New York to really like survive essentially. Where would you say the creative hub is in America, like the new creative hub? Because obviously originally I feel like it would have been New York, but with it being so unaffordable, like where would you say creatives will end up flocking to?
For like a small moment, it was Los Angeles, but now Los Angeles has also become unaffordable. I honestly don't know. You know, like I don't know. You know, for a split second, you heard it was Detroit, then it was Chicago, you know, Kansas City. But honestly, because the reality is that you can make a living. I think what everyone learned globally is that you can do your job anywhere, right? You don't have to clock into an office anymore.
Yeah.
So I think for anyone that was able to figure out like how to make a living just from your laptop, you can go anywhere and have that lifestyle, right? So I don't even think it's really a U.S. answer, right? Okay. It's like it could be Lisbon, it could be Mexico City, it could still be Berlin. Like I think honestly, like if you could survive off of like, I don't know, like $2,500, $3,000 a month, like you'll be fine. Like outside of like major cities, right?
Yeah.
And once again, like please don't kill me, whoever's listening to this, and like he's fucking lying, you know what I mean? But I feel like if you keep a low overhead, you know, and you're not trying to live an extravagant lifestyle, and you're living in one of those cities, like I think, yeah, you have time to make it happen.
Speaking of making it happen, I wanted to dial back to basically the start of Awake. As I said earlier, I was speaking of the Streetwear Avengers in terms of, I feel like at a specific time, there was, obviously we know that you worked at Supreme, you were there for 10 years, but there were other brands who were kind of cooking up and in and around you. So I would take you, Noah, Stussy, Union. There was a lot of brands that were cooking up in and around that time. Obviously, the Supreme already being there. How do you feel like that went for you, looking back at it, and what did you learn, or did you all collaborate, or how did it work? Because I know you've worked in and around Chris Gibbs before. How is that for you? How is that growing in that sort of, everybody's now starting a brand, or different people are starting a brand, or different people are doing clothing. What can I learn from this person? Where have I seen this person go down? What did you learn in that time?
It's a good question, but like, one, for the record, Stussy's not a young brand. Stussy's been around since 1962.
Surf brand, 10 skater, and then in between.
So Stussy doesn't. That's not part of this conversation. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, what did I learn?
Even Undefeated, sorry,
yeah, Undefeated. All those dudes. It's a different generation, right? So like my generation is Chris Gibbs, it's Tremaine, A-Side,
Virgil.
V, may you rest in peace, Virgil. Who else is out there? I know I'm forgetting somebody, but.
Is Noah's
before? Because
Noah. So just a little like streetwear knowledge. So like Brendan was the first official designer of Supreme, right? Then he left to start Noah like in 2003. Yeah. Right. And I think he found it a little bit more difficult than what
he anticipated.
He had expected, right? Because I was working at a store called Nom de Guerre at the time. So then basically like. At that point, the city, I would say, was split into three factions, right? Okay. So you had the New Blood, which was us, Nom de Guerre, Noah, and like other kind of like random. I had a t-shirt brand called Absurd at the time. We had this other brand, Arifs, like very like super subculture-y, right? And then you had this dude, Aaron Bondaroff, right? Aaron the Don, right? So Aaron started what was called Streetwear Mafia. He had his own crew. Right. So there were other brands like Clarendon, and I'm definitely feel like A-Life, like they were doing their own thing, right? Yeah, and then you had Supreme, like so it was like Supreme, Union, and Stussy, like so those were kind of like the three crews that nobody was really fucking with each other, but kind of acted like they were playing nice with it. This is 2003, right? Yeah, things have changed ever since then. Fast forward to 2016 when I decided to step down from Supreme. What I had noticed was that everyone was starting their own brand, and what I mean everyone, I mean like my friends were starting. And what I was seeing is that there wasn't enough black and brown ownership in streetwear. And traditionally, a lot of the inspiration that these other brands were using for their collections were rooted in black and brown
Brown,
culture,
yeah.
right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
the math don't fucking math.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
like, you look at the
Something's
biggest
off.
brands.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna start naming names, but you start looking
Yeah.
at the biggest brands. They're not owned by people that look like us.
Yeah.
So that was part of them. That was one of the biggest catalysts for me to leave Supreme, right? I at the time was 36. You know, I was gonna turn 40. So I'm like, what does my legacy look like? You know, I helped build a legacy for someone else, but I want to build something for myself. So and then that's kind of like what I started talking to my friends about. So, and you can hit up Tremaine about this. I literally had a meeting with Tremaine, A-Side, and Virgil, and I was like, look, this is my plan. I'm going to leave Supreme, and we should be supporting one another.
For
You
sure.
know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for too long, you know, we've been pitted against one another, and it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like,
There's money in it for all of us.
yeah, there's and I, you know, like now as we know, like that's, you know, systemic racism, white supremacy, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, we're gonna distract you with this one little piece of cheese while we're
eating the big
we're eating the big one, and you guys will just kind of
Scrapping over.
scrapping over the dumb shit, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, let's not get caught up in that, and like like I know what bag of tricks I have, right? So like, let's start practicing transparency with one another, right? Like let's start leading by example and really, like, you know, support one another. How can we support each other moving forward, right? And you know,
like dealing with brands, how much are you charging, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Because if
And
one
then-
of you are undercharging,
exactly.
one of you are
makes the
undercharging,
dream
then
work.
people are eating less.
Yo,
Yeah.
what? I see you're doing a collab. What? How much?
What's different?
You see when you have to
What
call a
you
creative.
eating? What you eating after?
So basically holding the line.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Holding the line.
yeah.
So like, if brand X is hitting me up and I'm like, yo, my fee is $20K to consult, they're definitely gonna go to you, Tremaine, and be like, hey T, can you do this project for me? Don't go and do it for 15. You know what I'm saying? Like, do it for 20 or more. You know? And that's how we're gonna hold the line.
Yeah.
So that was like the first conversation that
That's
I had
real.
with that crew, to be like, all right, like, let's support one another. So really, it's just, if we're talking about the biggest lesson is how to unlearn working from scarcity, right? So like, coming from immigrant families, right? Like, I don't know about y'all, but for me, it's always like what happens in the house stays in the house.
Oh,
right?
100%.
Real.
And if you have $1, you don't share that with nobody.
That's your dollar.
That's
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, kind of flipping that ideology and being like, yo, if you need $1, like, here you go.
Even if
You
the
know what I'm
last one
saying?
that
Like,
opened
it's
my hand.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fine
yeah, for
because
sure.
I know I'm gonna get it back tenfold,
sure, for
which
sure.
it has. Like, I guarantee you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's one thing that I do know what I'm talking about, is just like, anytime that I thought like I was gonna go down to my last dollar or whatever, and somebody needed help, I'm like, here you go.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. And it has always come back. It's
The law
always
of sowing
come
and
back.
reaping.
Yeah, and so and then the opposite of scarcity is abundance. We are living in abundance. We are the most talented people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was kind of like also another big learning lesson is just like, I'm special.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not coming from a place of ego. It's just like, yo, like,
the real.
it's the real. Like, what I have, I could teach, but also like, you have to learn on your own, right? You got to go have your own life experience in order to, you know, have your iteration of what you think could be the best Jordan 5.
Big
you
facts,
know what I'm
big
saying?
facts.
Like, I can't do that for you, but I could show you what I've done,
Yeah.
right? And so then also, I've spoken about this before. Like, part of the reason why I try to practice this this kind of like ideology is because I had the opposite experience when I was your guys' ages with my OGs, right? It's like the dudes that I just assumed like, oh, you're Latino, I'm Latino, we should help each other out. It'd be the opposite. It'd be like nah, like, fuck you, you know, go put some quarters in my car, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the meter, you know, and like, maybe, you know, I'll teach you something later, you know, like, you gotta earn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That that could have easily discouraged me from being
Facts.
where I'm at today.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? For me, like, it's like I definitely I get more satisfaction from helping someone than like hating on like it's like it's so pointless at this point to be like
gatekeeping.
Yes, gatekeeping. So also like, thank you for bringing that up.
Try to avoid the word.
Yeah, so
that's like one of our red words.
Yeah,
because it starts a big can of worms. But
yeah, it's cool because I think this opens it up to a bigger conversation. Because I think also the misconception is that, and I'll keep it to myself, that I gatekeep. Right?
Okay.
And because I've been accused.
You didn't gatekeep today.
Spread the love today.
No, spread the love, man.
Why do you think people think you gatekeep then, or what the perception is that you gatekeep?
Because if we don't have this kind of conversation, then you don't know, which I understand. I think it's easy to write me off on my friends and be like, old head, asshole, gatekeeper, right? Like and right? Instead of making an effort to just have a conversation. Had you not come up to me this morning, like then this wouldn't happen, right?
Yeah.
I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? Like but I was like, yo, cool, because like I said, like just keeping an open mind. It's just like, all right, like, because I don't know. Honestly, it's just like I don't know where this conversation is going to lead to. So like, yeah. But also, like, I think I have a really good, like, bullshit filter. So, like, within, like, 2 minutes, I'll know if this is, like...
If this is real or it's fake.
It's just, like...
Does your watch really
chat me up? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure.
But, yeah, I think, I think the misconception is, like... And not so much guys in your age group, but I think a little older, like 10 years older than you, like the mid-30s, I think, is a little frustrated, right? But it's not us, it's... my older generation, right? Like the generation that came before me that is still holding on to what they can. So like what I try to tell that age group is that I haven't even reached my potential yet because I'm still fighting through. I still got the ceiling above me. Like I'm not like Scrooge McDuck rolling in millions, you know what I'm saying? They're like counting my watches at home and you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna retire. And I think that's the reality versus perception, right? Like, oh, you worked at Supreme for 10 years, you're paid, that you don't need to work.
You should be good. You're set for
you're
life.
good.
Yeah.
You're chilling. It's like, nah, man, I'm fucking hustling.
I'm out here working in the streets regularly.
Just don't stop. They keep going.
Yeah, so it's just like, so you got to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just nothing is going to be handed to you because you got a good fit on.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be deeper than that. You know, so. Yeah, man, it's deeper than a fit, and it's deeper than like a title on your IG page. You could
deeper than a fit. I'm stealing that one. It's deeper than a fit.
Caption.
You will see me post that pic today.
That's my next dump.
Yeah, what's the depth?
Straight.
What's the depth?
Because this morning when we saw each other, we spoke briefly, and you were like, "We're gonna continue this conversation." So I'm glad you touched on it, like the importance of ownership, and it's a conversation that is rarely had, but is really important in terms of you come into the space where they're using your likeness, using your swag to build their brands, and they is obviously quite obvious to explain. And it's like when it comes to you now doing your own thing, you don't have the same motion, but they've stolen your flow, or they've stolen our flow and our way we do things to make their money. And I guess like when we spoke as well, you said when you get into this game, you automatically sacrifice that referring to ownership.
No, I didn't say that. I think what we said was compromise.
Yes,
the minute you participate, there's already you're already giving up something. You know what I'm saying? So it's not so much. It's not monetary. Right?
But
like you better say goodbye to like 5% of your soul. Like you're in.
Yeah,
you're in it. Once you make like that conscious decision to be like, yo, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna start a t-shirt line. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, you could kiss a little piece of yourself away. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. So I think anyone that tries to say like they haven't compromised anything in this game and they've been in it for as long as I have, or my contemporaries, is bullshit. Like at some point you're gonna have to compromise. But yeah, that's
fair,
what I meant by that.
No worries.
The talk about compromising just reminded me of conversation I was listening to earlier about Pat, and we spoke about this a little bit earlier as well, in relation to when she developed Pat Labs and how it went from it being her creative vision and now having employees, but everything has to funnel through her because she still wants to be the naysayer in terms of what comes out under her name. With you running Awake as the creative director, how have you managed to separate yourself from being a creative with the creative founder? I mean, a creative, and like, this is where I see this brand going in the next 5 years, compared to having other people come in who
Like
you've
Hugo, for
employed
example.
that you've employed because their talents be like, this is how I want to make my impression in this brand as well. How do you manage it when there's differences, for example?
What do you mean?
So let's say, for example, if super high level, let's say for the next 5 years, you're saying that I want Awake to push green more.
Yes.
But then you have someone who you've employed as a creative come in and pitch an idea, or come with create a storyline that doesn't align with going green, but it's a storyline that could potentially work, but it goes against what you're projecting the brand to go for 5 years. How would you manage that?
Well, good thing I don't want to go green. I can't afford to go green. Is expensive.
Yeah,
for all
extremely.
you tree huggers out there, because like y'all want us to go green, but then you don't want to pay green prices.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That vegan stuff be expensive, man. Yo.
I was like, you could pay $60 or you could pay $180. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, that's how much it costs. It's not cheap, but okay. So here's the thing. I think the minute you put hard boundaries on your brand, also you're limiting yourself. So for one, I would never ever just kind of box us in to be like, we're gonna do just
What I wanna
this.
do, yeah.
Yeah, it's like basically like, I'm just gonna eat chicken for the next 5 years. Like eventually you're gonna be like, I'm fucking tired of eating chicken. Like, I want something else on my dish. And for me, it's like the goal with Awake is gonna sound really simple, but I just want to do cool shit. Like I always say that.
Fair
I just
enough.
want to do shit that's cool, that feels different, that feels like it's adding to culture or shifting culture or shifting narrative, or just bringing some kind of newness to the table, and also like anything that will prevent me from having to put on a fucking suit to go to work.
Hey,
Like
man,
I'm
that is
grateful
so
that
real.
I'm 46 years old, right? And I could dress just like this, you know what I'm saying, and pull up to my office, you know, like, yeah, like that's to me is the whole goal. Like, when I was doing like the social media stuff this morning for Selfridges, and they're like, describe Awake in 3 words, and I was like, New York, youth, whatever, and energy. And he was just like, oh, why youth? I'm like, because for me, it's a youth brand. It's not, the brand isn't about me. Like, yes, I'm the creative director, but that's why I have people like Hugo. And I got you know, young people around me, because I'm like, ultimately, like, I want you to wear it. It's not. I'm not the muse. It's not for me. Like, now I'm happy, like, I could wear Awake track pants, you know what I'm saying? I want to wear those 5s. Like, I still obviously want to make things that are tasteful and that I would like, but I also like
resonates with the wider audience.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want a 15-year-old to see these 5s and be like, fuck, like I need those. You know what I mean? Like,
since we're here,
since you kindly brought it
segue.
up,
because hey, I've been looking at those 5s for a minute.
Yeah, man.
Talk to us about these Edge on the 5 Awake.
You want to know, man?
should we do this in the correct order?
Let's do it in the correct order. First of all, we'll start off with what's on foot. What are you wearing on foot today, Angelo? What you got?
You're gonna.
Man's about to kick ball in half an hour.
Top bins.
Man's about to kick
The
ball in half an
T90s
hour.
and the young silver.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Nice.
Wow.
That shoe means a lot to British
you.
culture.
Yeah.
But here's the thing,
Go
man.
on.
Like the reaction I got in wearing these out here in the last 2 weeks. Like I wore these for like probably like 2 weeks in New York too. Nobody said nothing. The reaction.
Hey,
Everybody's
man.
like, yo.
Because it means you're open enough to get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this to us is like I see
Heritage.
this shoe. First
That
thing I
is
think of,
real heritage.
Manchester United.
Yes.
Wayne Rooney, street striker.
Yeah.
And after that, everything else comes second.
Okay.
But that is a core memory. And so when you pull up in a pair of crepes like this in the UK, bro, like it makes sense. It makes sense.
Everybody, man. Everybody's been like, yo, 90s, okay.
Hey, good looks, man.
okay. And it's like every age.
Yeah.
It's not just like, 40 plus. Like,
Yeah.
those things.
Like it resonates.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of love on these out here.
Oh,
So.
I guess I could say I'm showing love. I'm wearing Tim's.
Butters.
Butters.
Yeah.
I wasn't really a Tim's guy. I got these at a brand event. So I was like, first. I've always wanted them, but I didn't want to physically commit. But now I see why everybody loves them.
Yeah.
Such a good shoe.
How does it feel?
It's not the best in feeling in terms of like.
But I'm talking about the spirit when you. Put
When I put it on, I feel like
how,
you feel like
when
you
you.
can
All right,
walk
so
around.
like,
Go on.
all right, here, let me paint this picture.
Yeah.
You're getting ready in the morning.
NY to
You're getting ready in the
LDN.
morning. Yeah. So like, what's the before and after? Like, so obviously you who you are.
Yes.
Right, and then it's almost like when Superman comes out the booth.
Yeah.
And he got the cape.
Okay,
and
cool. Okay.
So then
Okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
So it's like when you put the Timbs on, like, are you activated? You know,
The super
like,
suit.
The Timbs is more of a thing of raw. Wherever I'm going, yeah. Like one, I'm elevated. I'm just a little bit off the floor now, but it's heavy. Like it makes me feel. I don't know. Like
You got presence.
Like I feel like.
Because you got to stop now.
Yeah, if I kick someone, it's gonna hurt. Like that's what. I mean, I can't run in them. God forbid. I'm trying to, and it's not the best.
You've tried?
Yeah.
Where are you running from?
Like a train.
Was
Okay.
Like, did you run for?
Not like a run, but like the train's
No,
coming.
but as in like you had to run then.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah.
Okay. It wasn't a
Right,
choice.
yeah.
Also, that takes practice. You learn
Yeah. I'm still.
you learn how to run
I'm
it.
still.
I've seen ASAP Rocky running them, but I don't
Yeah.
know how you did it.
Yeah.
It's all about a knee drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The knee
Listen,
drive.
once I saw someone running Tim's, I used to be a sprinter. I saw the mechanics. I said, yeah, I get it.
Right.
It's all-
right,
it's-
right.
Oh yeah, that ASAP Rocky thing where they're all running
Yeah.
down the hill in
Yeah.
Tim's.
And he's running ahead of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fair play
So
to him.
yeah, decided to dedicate this to you.
I appreciate it.
Seeing as you were coming on, I see that you done the same. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, Tim's, Michael.
Michael, you go on.
I have gotten the Corte Hirachis. Obviously, this morning when I left the yard, I was like, cool. Today I've got a few things to do. I need to wear a crepe that I know won't hurt me by the end of the day.
Fair
And I thought I'll be getting home like at a reasonable time. And then I bumped into Angelo and my day changed. And I was like, I'm not going home to change. But this is still a cool step.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in the Black Onyx Cortez Hirachis, Air Trainer Hirachis. Yeah. Bolly, what you in?
I got on the my Duke Dexter loafers.
Loafing today, huh?
Yeah. You know, yeah. I got home because I had to get stuff before I came to the pod because I was in the office. And when I was changing, they were looking at me. I was looking at them. They're like, what? Like, you said you're gonna wear me next. What are you saying then? I was like, you know what? They hold me accountable.
Fairs.
I hear it.
Fairs.
Great shoe.
Yeah.
But that brings us into what's on the table. And allegedly, this isn't the first time you as an individual have worked on a Jordan 5. Would that be true?
It's very true. Yeah. I've worked on the Supreme Jordan 5.
Yeah.
So how did it feel making that return to the 5 for yourself now?
Yeah.
Oh, it feels great.
Yeah.
Would you say this your favorite Jordan
Very
silhouette?
satisfying. Is it my favorite Jordan? The 5? No, I'm a 4 guy.
Okay, I hear you.
Okay.
I'm a 4 guy.
Yeah.
You're one of us.
You're one of us.
with you.
You say you're a floor guy.
Yeah, I'm a 4
Interesting.
guy.
Yeah.
Also, which is kind of suiting.
Wait.
Yeah, why, you're not a 4 guy?
Oh, no.
Eman's taking notes. He's stored that.
He's
now.
projecting. He's projecting.
I know you're a floor guy. We've had an airship. Now we've had
A 5?
A 5.
An airship that looks like a 1. 5 minus 1 is.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Anyway,
I wasn't going that far. But
let's get back into the 5. Let's get into the 5.
5 plus 1.
5 plus.
Think
5
about
plus
it.
Hey,
one.
man.
Think
Minus-
about it.
Hey, man.
Minus 2 colors because there's 2 colors of the airship. Minus 2.
Right.
Alright, Bolly, get back in the car.
So tell us a bit about these.
I'm serious. What do you want to know?
I guess okay, cool. First of all, the colorway.
Yes.
When we saw them, and it's coincidental again. Like we have a snippet loaded to drop from our last episode specifically about this shoe, or no, specifically about your Jordan. Sorry, the Air Max 95 looks, and also I think about the 5s.
We'll get into that after.
Okay.
Why did you choose pink, and why this shade of pink? Like where did that decision come from? First of all.
Here's the thing, like what I love about the history of New York, there's certain colors that are synonymous to us, right? Like I think of purple, I think of pink, you know, I also don't think, here's the thing, like obviously Cameron, Fat Joe,
Yeah,
you know, I
okay,
think also broke the stereotype of say like the femininity
Of
of
the color
pink,
pink,
right?
for sure.
And
that
Angel
it's-
as well.
Excuse me?
And Angel as well.
And Angelo as well too. Like, and for me, it's always been a unisex kind of color.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I love the splashiness of the color, right? And I also like the fact of where we're at now. When you were talking about like where we're at, or something similar to like London, like who has better style, whatever.
In terms of fashion,
I think what we do New York best is like we are who we are, right? So it is Tim's, right? It is going to be a BB Simon belt. It's going to be the New Era fitted. You know, like what I don't like is how some way in the algorithms of IG and people that are not from New York that have somehow made New York a meme. Okay. Right? Where it's like you see like the stupid pigeon with Tim's and a New Era hat on.
And a fat puffer jacket.
Yeah, a fat puffer jacket. It's like, yo, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's like those are the same people that do food vlogs in like black and brown neighborhoods. Like, oh, this is called jerk chicken.
Oh, okay. I know the type of.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So for me, it's always about making a statement of who we are, you know, and being unapologetically New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's once again, it's like to me, it's also like it's youth, it's energy, but also it's just fly. You know what I'm saying? Like my train and schooling of design and making clothes is really embedded in making fly shit, right? Like. You bring up Rocky, and it just reminds me of like the first time I heard jiggy, like in the context of New York City, like yo, this shit got to be jiggy. You know, when I used to hang out with Rocky, he would just be like, oh, that's jiggy. Like, so the minute you got that jiggy, it's just like, okay, we're in a good place right now. You know, so when I think of like, for example, like the projects that I worked on, like at Supreme, like my job was. And I felt always was bringing that splashiness, right? So like you're wearing 98s, right? Like that was the last shoe project.
Oh, okay. Supreme 98s.
No, so there was red. Yeah. So the snakeskin was my idea.
Okay.
Yeah. So then once again, it's like bringing like that flair.
Something adventurous.
Like what is it that we do best as people, right?
Have to come with the swag.
You gotta come with the swag.
Silly right.
Respect it.
Silly right. I hear you.
Pretty boy swag.
So, again, like. Okay, cool. This is a behind the scenes question, and you can answer if you feel like it. Did you have a choice?
Oh, I love that question because I was going to ask the same thing.
Did you have a choice of silhouette when it came to the Jordan conversation? Because obviously you have a good relationship with Jordan. You're building up like your repertoire and footwear options with them, and your collaborations. So at this point, we're looking at the sample pair ahead of its release.
Yeah.
Did you have a choice of silhouette?
No.
Okay.
The answer is no. So you know, I don't want to gas anybody out there. You know, like when in any partnership right now, just with Jordan, you are given options. Right? Okay. And like I'd be stupid to pass on a 5. It's just like you can have door 1, door 2, door 3, and it's like well door 1 is the 5, so I'm gonna go for that. You know, but it's also you have to. Like build the relationship that also get to that point.
Of course,
of course.
And I feel like you've done your fair share of building across your different projects to be able to like, do this one justice, and they trust you to do it. So,
yeah, this is. I mean, look, here's the thing. I think because we live at a time where like collaborations are a dime a dozen, right? You go on Hypebeast, and every day there's probably like 40 new posts, like brand times brand, whatever, right? Equals new jacket, shoes, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I'm guilty of it. I've become very desensitized.
Right.
Like nothing is giving me the.
Right.
Yeah. So I think as a consumer, I take for granted sometimes of certain partnerships, right? But also because I'm in the game, I know that certain things are harder than others, right? So like if you're telling me like Stockroom podcast is gonna get an Air Max 1, I'm like. Okay, like that's some big boy shit now. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm just some kid at home, be like, oh, fuck that podcast, of course, man. Like that's so easy, and it's like actually, it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing, and once again, no disrespect to other shoe brands that I work with, right? I don't know, like, so like back home, I don't know what the comparison would be for like football here, right?
Yeah, go on.
So like there's like. like the farm team, like where you like before you can actually play on the big team.
Right. Oh,
Right.
so like academy or under 18 or like under 23s.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So
before you
like,
get to senior first team.
Okay, so like for us back home with baseball, like they're called farm teams, right?
Right.
You have the A team, AA, AAA, and then you make it to the big league.
Right.
So like it's almost like I had to do the other shoe brands, and then you finally get to
Where you want to be.
you know. I didn't say that.
You didn't say what
I said it.
You said it.
I said it.
Where,
So
where
I'll
you
take
want them to
I'll
be.
take the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you tick the box.
But not only that, it's just like if you would have asked me like top 3 brands I would want to have worked with after leaving Supreme, like it's not just Nike, it's Jordan.
Yeah.
So it's like Jordan, Nike, Polo.
Okay.
Like those are like I wanna.
Polo's heritage for a lot of people. as
Yeah,
well,
for
like.
me, like
Yeah.
that's my youth. That's everything, you know. And once again, not the easiest brands to get your foot in the door,
For sure.
right?
For sure.
So like, I don't take this for granted, and I want people to hear, especially like young people, like this shit is not easy.
Yeah.
And not only is it not easy to get the opportunity to do it, but then you got to bring some newness to the table.
Facts,
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah.
So and then like because I'm a glutton for punishment, I read all the comments.
Right.
So like a lot of
Right.
the comments were like, "Oh, you just slapped the A on the side," and it's like,
But that's not easy.
my
That's
man,
not easy.
it's like
You
we
guys aren't
we-
doing that.
No,
the
like
thing.
I had to sit down with like shoe engineers to figure out
Yeah,
like
yeah.
How to make it work.
Yeah, how to make it work because they're
Yeah.
telling me that they can't do it, and of course I'm disagreeing. I'm like, "Oh no, you can."
Yes, you can, yeah.
Because on the CAD it works. They're like, "Yeah, Angelo, but that's a CAD.
Yeah.
that's
Hey,
not real."
You got to bring it to life.
Like, we got-
That's your job.
But
As
my
the
favorite,
brand.
my favorite line, and like any of my employees will tell you this. They fucking hate when I say this. I'm like, "Yo, Michael, I believe in you."
Oh my gosh.
You
Oh
hit him
my
with the
gosh.
gaslighting. And it's like, imagine.
You know, Mike, I believe in you.
No, you got this, man.
Yeah, I believe.
That's
it.
a-
what
Why
I
do
tell
you
Hey.
think I employed you?
I didn't play anybody else in the street.
That man,
It was you.
look,
If anyone else could
let
do
me
it.
tell you something. That man wanted to jump over the table and choke me.
Hey,
I was like, "Yo, so and so, I believe in you," and he was like, "This motherfucker,
Yeah.
this motherfucker."
Yeah.
Hey,
We got it done though.
Yeah, hey, you got it done.
Hey,
You were right.
somehow.
We have to believe in him.
Hey man, you
killed
brought it to
it.
life with the 23.
I understand it now.
Hey, the icy blue sole, the
Yeah.
tumble pink, the inside red, the awake NY on the inside as well, the logo. No, I can't lie.
I think that the tongue
Nike on the back.
Yeah, Nike on the back.
Justice has been done.
Justice
Thank
has
you.
been literally.
You came with a vision. You came.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justice has been done.
All I can
Go on.
see the vision. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Semi like baggy-ish, like jean, Levi jean, semi baggy-ish. Yeah.
It's
Blue. I'm
bag.
seeing you. I'm seeing you.
With the blue, the line of the jean just cutting the top of the A
All right.
on where it's cut out.
All right.
That's a fit.
No, bro.
I don't even need to wear anything
Bro.
else. That's the fit.
No
That's the
shirt,
fit.
no shirt.
Nothing, bro.
No shirt, no
Nothing.
shirt.
That's it. No sock, no shirt, bro. Just
What is he?
Hey, yo.
What is he talking about?
jean and pink shoe. That's it.
Gina and pink shoe. Hey, man, you know what, bro? Hey.
No, this you've really done a number on this shoe. Like, well done.
Yeah,
coming
you and the whole team behind it.
literally.
Thank you.
You've done,
Yeah,
you've
man.
done
Thank you,
really
thank
well.
you, thank you.
I think.
What's up?
Custom insole.
Yeah, we didn't look inside.
There was one.
Okay.
There's a sample out there with the custom insole,
Okay.
but then also to keep price down, there was something that we had to sacrifice.
Oh, I
Because
see.
I also wanted to keep it reasonable. So there were certain things like there's a sample that has a different toggle.
Okay.
So there were certain
Okay.
things that we had to kind of wind back in order to get the price
To the right place.
to the right place.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the sizing looking like on this?
So US
Full family or?
US 3.5
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
all the way to US 16.
Amazing.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to
so
big fat people.
everybody.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Only
Basically-
size 12, so
I'll
this
be
is a
there.
running
Oh,
joke.
you're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
with plenty. When I saw up to 16, I was like, oh shit! Like I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
This, it might not be able to answer this, but you're speaking of options. Were there any other options that were presented to you?
I honestly blacked out after
Okay.
they said. I almost passed out.
Fair.
You know, like I
Fair.
was like, cool. Like,
That's-
I didn't want to
yeah.
hear anything else. So I was
Yeah.
like,
Very
yeah.
good shoe. Icy
Hear it.
Soul. You've really done a number. Go on.
I want
You know, hold on. There's a saying back home.
Go on.
You got to stop while you're ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
There's no reason to be like, hey, by
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah.
maybe a 4 could be cool. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah, man. So it was like 5. Like,
You know what, 5, you're in a good place.
We're good.
Because
Yeah.
imagine they were like, oh, you can't get that anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest, because I worked on that 5
prior.
there was a certain pressure that
It being Supreme.
correct, and working on a final product that wouldn't even feel like that project, because I think that shoe was a dope shoe, and it came out for that time period amazing, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, it's time to like, how do I make sure that it doesn't sound, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like you've been working with a certain producer in your MC, and like, yo, I don't want anything that sounds like
like what they've got going on. Like,
right, you know
no disrespect, but I just need it to sound fresh.
Yeah.
And sound like me.
Yes.
Yeah. I hear you.
Going back to that, the Supreme 5, when you spoke about this, you said that you had to sacrifice like the insole and like the toggle. Was there anything with that Supreme 5 that you guys had to like take back or like iterate to make it more affordable for or whatever reason?
No, I also, because like, I don't think, if I can remember, that was a while ago.
Yeah, fast.
I don't even think we did like a custom insole or anything like that. Like, that was designed originally. I think after we figured out where the branding was going to be on the shoe, it was just like, the thing is, like, Supreme is like very minimal. I'm pretty sure you guys understand. You know what I mean? So it's like, that ideology is very like, less is more, minimal, white box store, you know? So I think the shoe was a perfect reflection of the brand. Right? So like, me, I sit somewhere in the middle of like maximalism and minimalism, right? Like, if you ever get a chance to come to New York and come to the Awake store, you'll understand.
Oh, we'll be there.
I'm going to be there next month, so I will actually hit you up to come
so
through.
You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. So I think this shoe is also a proper reflection of me.
Nice.
And Awake.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah,
So like, I'm going to want to do all those little bits and bobs on the shoe, because also like, it's my shoe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't have any ownership over that Supreme project. Like, a few people worked on that project. But I also don't have any final say or anything like that. It's not my company. Where here is like, I could really tap into that inner sneakerhead, the dude and the child that still
Nike,
loves. Like all those things that like you're saying, like, you clock the Nike Air on the heel, like those are the things that matter
Icy
to
blue
me.
sole, all of these,
makes
all of these
sense.
things.
Because like that's what I'm looking for when I pull out a new pair of shoes, like a collaboration. Like, all right, how much intention, how much thought went into this project, right?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you another question in terms of collaborating and working on shoes. You helped on, I don't know if it's specifically the shoes itself, but I saw you in and around the 10 with a Virgil. Am I correct? Yeah. What was that process like, and what capacity were you working in that?
So when I left Supreme, I started my first creative agency, Baque Creative.
Yeah,
So I had zero intention of starting a clothing line.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to do was start another clothing brand. So what I wanted to do was basically package all the skills that I had learned at Supreme and then offer it to other brands, right? So I started consulting for Nike and Timberland, Converse, and I was doing like ghost art direction for Supreme for a year after I left, right? So the first big project that I got was the Virgil 10.
Yeah.
And so Nike New York, the people there came to me and they were like, hey, we got like basically this huge bank space, like an empty bank, but we don't know what to do in it. Right. You know, so like, this is the concept. We got V to design 10 silhouettes.
Make it cool.
Like how do we talk about this over like 3 days? And then me and then my team and a creative partner of mine, Shaniqua Jarvis, sat down and we just started ideating like all right, like how can we bring this to life, right? Like now what we know is kind of like experiences, right? Like that wasn't really happening back then, right? Or like talking about design and like, you know,
incorporating art and and
incorporating art, but I think is more about like immersing, like this kind of like immersive experience into like the design process with the designer and the product, right? It's like the first time all those things kind of like cross-pollinated.
Sure.
And like, all right, so how do we make it fun for like, because normally those things are not fun, right? So the first thing that we looked at was like how transparent V was, right? He never, for example, when you talk about gatekeep, never really gatekeep, right? Or like was about secrets. Like he was very open about who his favorite skaters were or who his favorite DJs were. You know, he was always name checking certain people. So whether it's Benji B or Venus X or Tremaine, you know, he was constantly talking about basically like the people that inspire him, right? So I was just like, and then also like the whole ideology behind that project was kind of like to put the insides on the outside, right? It was all about exposure, right? The reveal, right? Like you're saying. So I'm like, all right, so why don't we do that with each silhouette, right? Like let's start addressing like, all right, you know, he's always talking about Eric Costin. Like it's easy to just pull in Eric Costin and just have him sit down with Eric Costin and just nerd out about skating. Let's bring in Benji and have him talk about, you know, DJing and music and production around Model X. You know what I mean? So then we did the whole programming basically based around that. And then my favorite part was, you know, these tutorial design classes.
They did all that. Like there was here, New York, and there was London.
New York, right? So like the New York one, we pulled in the Hood by Air guys. So there was Shane and Ian, right? And then we had Callie DeWitt and Brendan Fowler, right? Okay. So at the time they had a brand. And my mind is blanking. I think it was somewhere, not somewhere, but something like that. But anyway, regardless, they came in and they sat down with kids, and the point is like there was 3 floors. So there was a merch floor, there was the floor for the talks, and like the displays for the shoes. And then in the basement it was kind of like the afterthought where the classes were held. Right. And it was, they probably spent like $5,000 on it, but that's where like the magic happened, right? Because there was never that like close proximity to the talent, right? I think there's like how you were saying, like I'm surprised that I saw you at Selfridges, right? So like, there's never that accessibility to
just see somebody and
and like okay and humanize them, right? Humanize this process, right? For sure. So that was part 1 to that, right? And immediately afterwards, I told Shaniqua, I was like, we're never gonna get hired to do that again, because knowing corporate and knowing Nike, we just gave them the blueprint. Right? Like we just it's not like we signed the contract, you know what I'm saying? Like we got paid, it's a transaction. I was like, but I guarantee you we're never gonna be asked to do that again, right? And
it's too valuable.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like there wasn't really a budget to bring in these people, so everybody did it on the love, and most of it did it on the love for me, right? And Shaniqua and Virgil, right? But it was like literally phone call being like, hey bro, yo, where are you gonna be at this weekend? You wanna do this thing with Virgil? And they're like, for you, Angelo, I got you. You know what I'm saying? So that's where most, not just Nike, but just most corporations get it fucked up, you know, like where like you can't buy and commodify culture and community, right? Like you're gonna have to work with people like us in order for that to happen. So that being said, I was like, we're never gonna get hired again. We should repackage this and do this ourselves, and that's how social studies started. Right. So like the 10 I think was like August or September, and then that December we did the first social studies during Art Basel in the Miami Design District. Amazing. And then that's when I was able to pull in Virgil and Tremaine, and that whole idea too was just once again to create accessibility between like if you want to get into streetwear, like obviously like at that time period, you know, you're gonna be checking for, you know, Callie DeWitt and Tremaine and A-Side and Shaniqua. So it was like, let's do the merch thing. Let's do the master, you know, the workshop classes, and you know, like, let's just have fun. But then most importantly, like, what's the give back, right? Like, because for me, like, I never had that kind of like close proximity to Ralph Lauren or Tommy Hilfiger or fucking any artist or designer when I was a teen. So for me, it's mostly, I want to prioritize youth. When we're doing these things, you know, it's like when we're doing these kinds of activations and projects, and also like any money that we make, let's make sure to donate some of it to like a foundation that's gonna need help. So and then once again, like, I would say like my favorite part of the work with Awake has been also like shifting the way people think about streetwear, right, as an owner, and what the power that you have as an owner. Like, you don't have to wait to make your first $1 billion to actually give back. Right. Like, you know, you could drop 50 t-shirts, and if you want to donate, you know, like 25% to like a charity of your choice or like a foundation that you really back, then you can do that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that's something now that's, you know, is very of the norm. Right, like, but 9 years ago, no one was doing that. So I you know, like that's when I talk about newness and shifting narratives, it's not just about like, yo, Pink 5, but it's like, all right, like how we think and how we work. For me, like that's really like real legacy.
I wanted to quickly delve into the lookbook, the upcoming lookbook, and what does that lookbook mean to you? One, and why did you decide to tease the Air Max 95?
The tease the Air Max. Look, did I know about by the way, those are not the retros. Those are the 2025 pair. They're not.
They're not.
They're the OG ones.
Those are OGs.
Okay.
Those are not OGs from 95. Those are from the last retro. So I can't take, by the way, I can't take any credit. Shout out to Courtney Mortison, who does my lookbooks.
Right.
You know, so we'll sit down and we're like, all right, what's the inspo? What's the vibe?
Because it's just very convenient.
It is. No, that's total.
That's how you play the game, though.
No, that's total kismet, and kind of like we're all sometimes in the same kind of like IRL algorithm. You know what I'm saying? I always, man, I know I keep saying this, but like I love being from New York, and there's certain things that are like a part of the New York uniform in the 95s.
Okay.
Are a part of our New York uniform, right? And it's like there's like, if you're not from New York, you don't know that, right?
Right.
So, for example, like Vast boots, Vast boots outside of New York are not really. I don't know. I'm not sure if they really here or like. We also had another brand called like Dolomite in the 90s. Like,
Dolomite.
So if you're not from New York, you don't necessarily know about those brands, but those are kind of staple pieces for us. So I'm like, I also don't want to ever be predictable. You know, it's just like when like the first couple lookbooks I did, like I used a lot of like tan wallabies. Then I started noticing other people doing it. So I was like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? For a while, I'm going to shelve this. Same thing. Then I started doing, you know, like Doc Martens, you know, and then I started noticing other people doing Doc Martens.
But the collab came about, though.
Huh?
The collab came about.
Yeah, the collab came out. But here's the thing. There was no collab before that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that was organic. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the time, I was wearing Docs. This kid Vegas that was working for me at the time was wearing Docs. So, like, once again, it's just kind of like we're in the same synergy, same energy. For sure. So, like, Courtney... And this is the reason why I love Courtney, is like Courtney is same age as you guys, but her brother and sister are kind of closer to me in age. Okay. So she grew up on that stuff. You know, so like that's in her closet. It's not ironic. You know what I'm saying? Like she's rocking like AVs and Pels because it's in her DNA. Same way that she's rocking, you know, 95s or like 97s is because like she grew up on that.
She was the best person to do the lookbook.
Yeah, she's also like was like my number 2 intern. You know what I'm saying? So she's like the second intern that I had brought in, and now like she's a very, very poppin' stylist. I'm very happy for her. Man.
Love that for her. I love that for her.
I just wanted to touch on in terms of the apparel as well. I feel like it's a really cohesive collection in terms of what you've put together, and you always pray that when you're doing stuff as a brand, it moves forward. So I guess like, what was kind of the motivation and kind of storyline behind this new season that's about to start for you guys?
Man, I wish I had a very elaborate answer
Fair.
for you. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. Like for us, t-shirts, hoodies, hats are the foundation of the brand, and then everything else is kind of like sauce, right? So I think of like that pink leather jacket, the trench coat with the big A on the back. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, that's like the honey that attracts bees.
Right.
You know, they're not going to be big money drivers, but to me, that's what people notice first. They're not like, oh, look at that hoodie. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like all that other stuff really pays the bills.
For sure.
You know, but it also depends on what I'm listening, like what music I'm listening to, the things that I'm being inspired to, or like what is Hugo into, you know, like, so yeah, like, and this is, I learned at Supreme, you know, I like to cast a wide net, right? When we first start the design process, it's like kind of like back to like we're going green part, you know, question, whatever. Like if I start like we're going green, then I don't know what's outside of that.
Right.
Right. So the spectrum has to start wide. And I always tell people like be fearless when you pitch. Like don't be afraid of rejection. Like so it's like literally like a game of spades, right? You come and you're just like, I got this, I got that, I got that, I got that, and then you just wait to see like, okay, what makes sense for us, what looks good, what feels right, you know. And the thing is just like what I can't teach also is just gut and intuition, right? Because like I didn't like when we designed like the pink leather jacket, like there was no pink fives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like it's a kind of like the chicken or the egg kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So like it all kind of worked out at the very end.
Fair.
With that, when I think of that look, right? And then the kid that was in it isn't normally the type of person that you would think would be wearing a pair of fives. You know, like he's kind of like punky, Mexican, weird. But like to me, I think of like rock stars from the early 90s that used to wear like chunky high tops, like Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
So like Google Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses after this, and just look at his, like he would wear Jordans, he would wear high top Converse, like but like basketball Converse, not Chuck Taylors.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like there's certain like things are in up here, like deep in the like,
archives.
Yeah, like in the archives. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, like that's this thing, and I know that's gonna fucking look cool. So we're gonna do like a Mexican Axl Rose in Jordan 5s. Like that's gonna be but there is no fucking mood board.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I also fucking hate when
I
people
saw you say that. Yeah.
like, there is no fucking mood board. The shit, it's all
It's life.
It's
Real
it's
life.
here.
Yeah.
It's here. So that's what I'm talking about. Like when people are like, yeah, what's your inspiration? I'm like, sometimes like I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? Like I just know when I see something and I just start kind of like putting it together, then it just has to feel right.
I mean, hey, that was a deeper, more profound answer than you realized you would give.
Oh yeah, it is. No, because some people give you like the whole bullshit, like, oh, I was like,
When I was 16,
no, like
I
I was looking at post-impressionism, and you know, it's
even know
a
what that
summer
means.
that I spent in Berlin.
So you don't use that word in the trenches.
Yeah, I'm just like, yo, you're fucking lying. You know, like, I know you, and this summer you were on Orchard Street, like you were in Berlin. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, man, like, that's to me is just like, yeah, like I said, sometimes like I don't want to simplify it so much that it sounds like I'm lying, but like it just has to feel cool, it has to feel fresh, it has to feel new. And like that can also be frustrating because it's very vague, right? Yeah. But then like I don't know. That's how I'm used to working.
I hear you, man.
Makes sense. No, it makes sense.
One of my go on.
Oh, I was gonna. Would you? What non-fashion item would you work on if you could work on something?
Ooh, airplane.
Yeah.
Would be one.
With the windows are an A.
A restaurant would be number 2.
Okay.
That'd
be like creating the space, or actually like food.
the whole thing, the whole experience.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, we've got the 5-year plan.
Hey.
You got the 5-year plan.
Got the 5-year plan.
And I'm trying to think of a third one. Almost like
Would you do a car?
no, that's played out. There's so many people have done cars. Like, I was gonna say like cloning or something like that.
Cloning?
Like something,
That's
yeah.
wild.
Or like space travel.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Awake
if
AI.
I could have it, if I could have it my way, I would like to enter into like a black hole, but somehow be able to make it out.
Yeah.
Like,
You know what?
go into a black hole, go into a wormhole,
Same.
and then come back.
Same.
And everything still be fine, and not like everybody's dead or I die. Because technically, when you go through a wormhole,
That's the end.
life itself ends.
Yeah,
but it's also like 500 years later.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe not same. Purely me, I like to experience things. So it's like seeing a black hole, knowing that you can't survive. I would like to try it.
Right.
Let's just say I've done it.
I was gonna say, probably like a spaceship, like in a wake ship, like if you're going, I don't know, God willing, NASA,
a sleep pod. So when you
Yeah, maybe like some type of like
so dark, man.
cryotherapy.
You're ridiculous. Did you see what he did?
No, what did he say?
He said when you go to sleep, a sleeping pod.
Because your brand is awake. He's ridiculous. He's
Get
ridiculous.
this dude out of here.
You're like literally.
Out of here.
Boy,
brand
stinks.
stinks.
here a week, man.
All right, cool. Oh, you got a question? Go on.
last question from me.
Yeah,
I wanted
Second
to,
one, got one more.
yeah,
That'll be it.
I wanted to get into basically over the recent couple of years, we've seen a heavy influence of the Latino/Latina culture in streetwear. If we're talking about Stray Rats, if we're talking about
J Balvin.
I was gonna say Nike alumni. I mean Jordan Brand alumni, J Balvin. We've got Bad Bunny at Adidas. We've got
Born and Trade as well.
Yeah, Born and Trade, Spanto,
Yeah.
rest in peace. How does that make you feel in terms of you're another person who's really flying the flag for the Latina space and Latina in streetwear? Is that something that you've really thought about, or?
Yeah, I think about it a lot actually, because here's the thing, man.
Or even Kids of Immigrants.
KOY is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like being Latino it's not a monolith.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's part of the biggest struggle of creating any kind of solidarity in the Latin community, because there's still so much racism, colorism, classism that exists within the Latin community that's so ingrained in our people that it is extremely difficult to have solidarity, and then also without that solidarity create change, right? So like I would say some of my biggest frustrations is changing the narrative of what Latinos look like
Okay.
in America, right? So we have 3 stereotypes, right? So you're Puerto Rican, right? That means you're from New York.
Right.
Okay.
You're Cuban, you're from Miami,
Okay.
or you're Mexican and you're from LA.
Okay.
That's it, right? And then you go to the corporations, and they're still operating as if it's still 2001, and they have Fat Joe and J Lo,
Right.
and that's it,
Right.
right? That is the face of
Right.
being Latino in America. So then, therefore, the masses think
That is.
that's our narrative and that's our story. Whereas like what African Americans, because they basically built the country, right? And there's a rich history in, music, fashion, and art,
Yeah.
right? And there isn't that like false identity behind nationality, right? That it's easier to have some sort of solidarity. And I'm saying that that's an easier process, right? But it's like, yo, you black, I'm black, we down, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I know there's different dynamics
course,
here,
of
like
course,
Caribbean versus African American, African or West African versus. Trust me, I know.
in the UK it's
there's
different.
other. I'm not oblivious to that.
Yeah.
But at least base is like,
There's
yo, you're
something
black,
there.
I'm black.
Yeah.
We good.
Yeah.
With us, it's like you're Dominican, you're Dominican, I'm Puerto Rican, I can't fuck with you. You're Ecuadorian, you're Peruvian, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's always some weird, dumb, fucking stereotype shit, right? That's also once again rooted in white supremacy, systemic racism that we as a people can't really get over. Then now we're coming to streetwear. What I love is there is brown pride in streetwear, and our stories are starting to be told. Probably my biggest frustration is, capitalizing now on being Latino, and it being very convenient to be Latino now.
Okay.
Because my shit is like, where were y'all 10 years ago?
Yeah.
You know
what I'm saying? I'm not.
I see you in the street corner.
You wasn't, you know what I'm saying? You wasn't with me in the gym. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I know you was out there.
Yeah.
And it was cute to be white passing 10 years ago. And now because there's opportunity
to now relate with what you actually,
whatever it is that you think you are, now you want to capitalize that. And I'm not talking about any of the brands that you mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Like those are all friends, but there's definitely some violators out there that like that's tough to stomach, right? Because let's just say that they're a little bit more well seasoned, they know how to play the game, and easy to get like that white acceptance.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know if that answers your question, but what I do really like to focus, instead of focusing my energy on that, is really focusing on the youth and the younger brands coming up that I know
can you support?
that need the support and need the guidance. And if, for example, they're like, yo, I need to do a pop-up, can I use your space? Okay. Hey, would you want to do a t-shirt together? Absolutely. Let's run it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's real.
That's like, it costs me nothing to put Awake next to your brand, right? If that means to help you now get to the next thing, like if you're saying that Awake, right, validates your brand, cool. Cool. Like if I rate you, right, if like I think what you're doing is cool, I'm also not gonna do that with just any old body. You know what I'm saying? Like your shit gotta be good. Yeah. So like if you're doing good work, like like once again, like back to the whole gatekeeping thing, or like this kind of like caste system of streetwear, like you're lower than me, and you know what I'm saying? Like I don't play that shit, man. I don't do that, man. It's like good is good, great is great. I'm gonna be here to support it. But what I do want to see is more brands that are Latin known, truly Latin known, and that are telling their individual experiences and stories in this space. I want to see more of it.
Because that's how we as consumers get more familiar with the different.
Yeah, we educate. Listen, man. To this day, a lot of people don't know where Ecuador is. So I'm Ecuadorian. I've never been nothing but Ecuadorian. So that's a whole other conversation. Because I've had friends that fucking lied. Like I don't know what what would be the comparison here, but it'd be much easier for me to lie and be like, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican, or I'm Dominican. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having to sit here and explain to you what Ecuadorians are, or where I'm from, what the culture is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like. There's even like Latin passing, it's like you're passing for another nationality just to make your life easier.
Well, last question. We got into culture.
Yeah.
We're in London. Yeah. You've been here for 2 weeks and you're regular. What's the one spot you have to go to eat when you're in London?
Nando's.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay. What's your order since we're here?
Damn, man. That's like...
Depends on the day.
It depends on the day, but the half chicken.
Yeah.
Medium.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not gonna do the extra spice.
I hear you.
I could do mashed potatoes.
Okay.
I could go with the garlic bread. I could go with the mac and cheese. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Wait,
go on.
Because you said something. Now I have a question. Have you tried Peri Tamer?
No, what's that?
See.
When you're back next time.
When you're back next time.
Put me on.
There's a secret Nando's menu.
Yeah.
Also, there's a very big Latino community in Elephant. We'll put you on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elephant
Yes, there is. There is.
Elephant and
They got some good restaurants over there too.
Years ago, there was a random, and it didn't last too long, but there was a random Ecuadorian restaurant in Soho. Like in one of those alleys, like that connect like Dean and Wardor.
Yeah.
It was like random. The food was not good.
Damn, that's probably why I didn't last.
That's why I didn't last so long.
Hey, maybe that's the 5-year plan.
Open up Ecuadorian restaurant.
Hey man,
Awake Brandon.
Nah. You're good on that.
I'll tell you something.
we cooked there.
If there's one thing, I would design a restaurant and I would definitely help curate these. The last thing I would want to do is get into food and beverage.
Fair.
It's the worst.
Yeah. Fair.
All my friends that do it. It's a fucking living nightmare.
Well, I guess that brings us on to the end of the episode. But before we end this amazing episode, every single guest that comes on the pod, we asked them to sign the Stockroom Force One, our shoe that houses the signatures of all of our guests
Okay.
that have featured. They are size 15.
Body size.
Oh
16.
wow. Is that
16, sorry.
Shaquille O'Neal?
Hey man. And yeah man, if you would like to pick your spot where you will sign, one day these might be in the gallery or they might be in the office when we get in office.
Who's Drip Isha?
Tripisha's
A friend of ours.
Yeah, she's a creative
fire.
director.
Yeah, creative director,
I
artist,
like
rug
that.
maker. She's cold still. Yeah. So have a look around, choose your spot,
Or
make
is
your
it
mark.
time to?
Shit. Can I christen the other?
You know what? Actually, it's episode 100. Angelo,
It's time.
take it away, man.
Thank you.
Take it away.
Thank you. I feel very
We should have announced this.
privileged.
Episode 100. Angelo in the cut. This is a great way to start.
I guess some can say that we awakened a new chapter.
Right.
Get this guy out of you! Get out!
But Angelo, thank you for your time.
Thank you so
for,
much,
for stopping
honestly.
by in the stockroom. And thank you for dropping gems.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
And-
And here's to the divine architect for bringing us together.
Hey man, we
today,
thank God each and every
Like,
time, man.
Hopefully these will be in a gallery one
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Definitely,
yeah,
man.
100%.
Definitely. When we had Tremaine sign it, he was like, "Well, if you sell these, do I get a percentage?" I was like, "We can discuss remuneration." But yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you sharing your time, sharing your knowledge.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. Hey, this isn't the last conversation we'll have. I'll tell you that for
not.
sure.
One of many.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, man.
We'd love to come and see you in New York.
Yeah.
Definitely, bro.
Appreciate you on that.
Definitely.
Next one will be in the store.
Yes,
Yes,
sir. For sure.
yes,
For sure.
yes.
For sure. But people,
Appreciate you.
thank you for watching. Thank you for locking in. And yeah, man. Until next time.
We gone.
See you in the next
Bye-bye.
one.
Peace.